What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Night YouTube channel. In today's video, guys, I'm going to teach you how to play Escape from Route 52. So, guys, this is actually a VHS box game. I'm loving all the VHS games. Such a cool thing, man. So cool. Very nostalgic. This is actually a double feature. It says Best with One presents a spooky double feature. So you actually get two games in one in this box right here. You get Haunted Transylvania and you get Escape from Route 52, which we're going to be playing in today's video. And first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to my boy Trouble for sending me this copy of the game. Thank you so much, dude. I think if I remember correctly, you might have got two copies of the game somehow on accident or something, so you sent one my way. Thank you. I really appreciate it, dude. It's awesome. Really appreciate that. The game is really cool. I haven't played Hunted yet. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to the other Hunted games. But this one I have played, and this is what we're going to play in today's video, and it's really cool. It's a fun little whimsical game. The artwork makes it really whimsical, really cool, but it is spooky. It's got spooky vibes too. So yeah, man, we got Escape from Route 52. On the back of the box here, as you can see, it says bestwith1.com, so you could check them out if you want to check out some more games from them. And then for Escape from Route 52, it says it is a roguelike card game where you have to escape a dangerous and haunted road. The deck consists of 52 cards, each not only representing the situations and threats along the road, but also the weapons and equipment needed to deal with them. Each round, you'll deal with 4 cards at a time in search of the resources necessary to fix your truck and leave the hateful road in the rear view. So this was designed by Emmanuel Mello. I am probably butchering that person's name, but good job, dude. Good job. The game is really cool. I do enjoy the game. And we'll get to Haunted Transylvania at some point too, guys, so be on the lookout for that one. And it's a spooky game, so it's coming this month as well. Cool stuff. So there we go. We got the box here. We're going to set that off to the side, and we're going to go over all of the components in the game, guys. So we got this beautiful full color rule book right here. Escape from Route 52. Good stuff. And as you can see, the very whimsical artwork, really cool artwork, very stylized. I love the like thick black lines around everything. Looks really good. And then on the other side, you've got Haunted Transylvania. So this is a rule book for both games right here. Cool stuff, guys. So you got this full color rule book, shows you all the contents that you get inside, and we're going to go over all of that. One thing I will mention too, it's a little unfortunate just for me because I like to sleeve my games. I can't get both of the games to fit back in the box sleeved. So I'm just keeping Escape from Route 52 in the box, and I have Haunted Transylvania also sleeved up in a deck box. I think I have it in like a little Deck Pro deck box or something like that. But yeah, so they don't all fit sleeved, unfortunately. I tried. I couldn't get it to work. Maybe you can. I don't think you're going to be able to. It's too many cards. It's too many cards. But without the sleeves, it all should fit perfectly fine. So you get the rule book, you get this health tracker up here. It's just like a little cardboard health tracker. And then on the flip side, you got your energy tracker for the other game, for Hunted. But we're going to be using this side in today's playthrough of Escape from Route 52. So this is going to keep track of your health. It goes from 1 all the way up to 12. And you get a little red cube to track your health with. And then you're going to get a character. You're going to get 3 different characters, actually. You're going to get Stacy, Dean, and Meg. And each of them will have a certain starting value of health that they start with. They all start with 10 health. With Meg here, her maximum health is 10. And then for Dean and Stacy, their maximum health can actually go up to 12, but they both start with 10. Meg starts with a little ability here. Dean also starts with an ability. And then Stacy does not have any abilities. It just says standard hero. So we're going to use Stacy in today's playthrough so I can just kind of like show you guys the basic premise of the game. And then if you're interested and you want to pick up the game for yourself, you'll have these other 2 characters to explore and kind of mess around with. Cool. So we've got Stacy here. She is going to start the game with 10 health. So we're going to put 10 right here. And we're actually going to set it up to where we have our character down this way, I think. And then we're going to put this down here as well. Like so. Cool. And then we're going to set this off to the side. There we go. And then I'm going to show you guys the cards that you get. It's primarily just a card game other than the health tracker and the little cube that you get. Everything else is just cards. So you're going to have different types of cards, and I sorted them out all nice and neat so that I can show you guys. So we've got gear cards here, which are a blue background on the card, and it'll say gear up in the top left. You got things like binoculars, a utility belt, a backpack, a repair kit, a creepy talisman, and then you have these 3 sort of special items here that you're going to use for the sort of normal mode of the game. There's actually 2 different game modes that you can play with that I'm going to explain. And on that first normal mode, you're trying to get the fuel can the car battery, and the keys. And they're each special because they have this little like hazard symbol, this triangle with an exclamation point in it. You're trying to collect all 3 of these to get your truck to start up. So you got the fuel, the car battery, and then the keys, of course, to get it all started up. And so you can get out of town, man, and escape Route 52. So you're trying to look for these in the regular mode. We'll go over the other mode as well. So that's your gear. And then you've got weapon cards. So the weapons are going to have maybe like a little text box down here that might have some sort of special unique property to them. They'll also have a power value up in the top right, and there'll be yellow background, and of course it'll say weapon. So you've got a couple of hunting knives with 3 power. You've got a couple of crossbows with 4 power. You've got a fire axe for 5 power, a Molotov for 6, a pistol with 7 power, a shotgun with 8 power, explosives with 9 power, and a chainsaw with 10 power, being the strongest item in the game. And then you've got some healing cards. They'll say healing, they'll have a green background, and they'll have a text box that tells you how much they, what they do basically. Some of them have certain ongoing effects, such as the painkillers. It says it takes no inventory slot. And then up in the top right, it'll tell you how much to heal you for. So 2 for the painkillers, 3 for the energy bar, 4 for the energy drink, 5 for the first aid kit. There's another first aid kit for 6, a basic medical kit for 7, and a complete medical kit for 8. It's also important to note that your health can never exceed the second value printed on the card. So in this case, for Stacy, it's 12. So she can actually go past her starting of 10, her starting health of 10, and go all the way up to 12. If you ever reach 12, obviously you can't go any higher than that. And then you've got your threat cards. So these are going to be all the enemies in the game, and they are red. It'll say threat up in the top left. It'll have a text box in the bottom that gives you a little special ability or some sort of way that they interact with the game in their own unique way, and then it'll have their power level up in the top right corner. So you've got a Murder of Crows here. It's going to come with 2 of those. They have 2 power. You've got a couple of Mad Dogs that have 3 power. Then you've got a couple of Shades that are power 4. You've got 3 of these monstrous crawlers. These look really cool. All the art in the game is really cool. These are power 5. Then you've got 3 Wraiths with power 6. You've got 3 zombies with power 7. You've got a couple of scarecrows with 8 power. The Fiend with 9 power. That's the guy from the cover of the game here, as you can see. He's got 9 power. And then you've got the Revenant with 10 power, a Werewolf with 10 power, and then the Abomination with 15 power right there. So that guy is no fun. He is no fun to deal with. And then you've got some situation cards here. So the game is going to come with these 5 situation cards. 4 of them will just be normal situations, and this 5th one here, the battered truck, is an objective card, which says you win the game if there are 3 hazard gear cards in your inventory and no threats in the road. I call them hazard. That little icon looks like a hazard symbol to me. It's basically just a triangle with the exclamation point. So essentially this card is saying that if you've got all 3 of these items right here in your inventory, and then there are no threats left on the board, you win the game. So you're trying to get to this situation right here, this battered truck, with those 3 items in order to win in the normal mode of the game. And then the other 4 situations are the bridge collapse, a fire, a tripwire alarm, and dense fog, and you'll have to interact with these before moving on to any of the other cards in the game, which I'll show you how that works soon enough. And last but not least, we've got a companion card here, and this is Doug right here. Also, I didn't mention, or I might have mentioned, I don't know if I did. These cards are double-sided, so it's the same thing on both sides of the cards, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it looks like it's the same thing on both sides. So this is your companion card, Doug. You can pick up a companion. He's going to have 4 health, and it's got a little red arrow pointing up. Whenever you get this guy, you'll set him underneath your health tracker, and you'll have the little red arrow pointing up to the 4 on your health tracker. As he takes damage, you'll slide him over to move him down to 3, 2, and 1, and then if he loses all of his health, he croaks, and he's got to be discarded. So that's how the Doug companion works. Cool. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's all of the cards. So now we're going to get into how you actually play the game. So there are 2 different modes of the game here. So the first, well, obviously you got to figure out which one you want to do. The first one is the normal mode, which we're going to play. It's called Gnarly Getaway, and that's when you're trying to find the battered truck card. Oops, where is it? It's over this way. It's where you're trying to find the battered truck objective situation and then have those 3 special items, the gas, the battery, and the keys, in order to escape. And then there's another mode that you can play called a hairy situation. And we'll take a brief look at that. I don't know if I'm going to actually play that one in today's video, It depends. Maybe if the video is super short, but I'm probably just going to skip this one. But I'll at least tell you guys how it goes. So, and it's got a cool little synopsis right here. It says Doug has turned into a werewolf. So that's the companion right here. So Doug gets turned into a werewolf. And it says, we've got to use that creepy talisman to unturn him before we burn rubber, or his grandma is going to totally freak out. So then it says setup. You remove the utility belt and car battery from the game, and you set the Doug companion card to the side. So you would remove the car battery, and you would also remove the utility belt. You would remove these two cards from the game. You'd set them off to the side. You'd set Doug off to the side. And you're trying to get this creepy talisman right here. We'll leave it right on top as a reference. And then it says that in order to win, you have to have the battered truck on the road. So you've got to have this card out, this battered truck. You've got to have that out on the road, and the road has to be clear of any threats, and you have to have the keys, the gas can, and Doug in your hero area. So you'd have to have the keys, the gas can, and you would also have to have Doug down here in your hero area in order to win. And in order to gain Doug, you must first encounter the werewolf while having the creepy talisman in your inventory without using the creepy talisman on the werewolf. And after discarding the werewolf, you add Doug to your hero area. So essentially you would have to encounter the werewolf while having the creepy talisman in your hero area. You'd have to defeat the werewolf, discarding it, and then you would get Doug, because Doug is going to be set aside from the beginning of the game. Then you would get Doug, and then you'd move on from there, trying to find the battered truck and hope that you can get the keys and the fuel can along with Doug in order to escape. And then you lose if your hero or Doug runs out of health, or if either the keys or the fuel can card are permanently lost. So that's basically it, guys. That's pretty much it. So again, we're probably not going to play that variant of the game. I'm just going to do the normal variant of the game in today's playthrough. So we're going to add the car battery and the utility belt back to the deck. And we're going to shuffle all of this up, guys. So all of these cards over here get shuffled into a deck, and they all have the same card back, the Escape from Route 52 logo on the back of the cards. So we're going to give these a good shuffle since they're all separated out into their own piles. Make sure that we get these all mixed up. And yeah, we're going to be playing the first mode of the game. What was it called again? I forget the name of it. It is called Gnarly Getaway. It's called Gnarly Getaway. So to set up the game, you're going to choose one of the three characters. In this case, we're going to pick Stacy, and then you set up your health tracker as so. So the game is very simple, and it actually reminds me of the game Scoundrel. If you guys are familiar with that, I have a tutorial on my channel to play the game Scoundrel. You play it with a regular deck of playing cards. A lot of the mechanics in this game actually remind me of Scoundrel. It's kind of like somebody, it definitely seems like somebody played that game and was like, I want to make my own adaptation of that. I don't know if the person that made this actually did that, but if not, it's a heck of a coincidence. It's very, very similar. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle these up nicely. Get those nice and mixed up. Again, I had them all separated out, so I really want to make sure that these are mixed. Okay, that's probably good. That's probably good. Fingers crossed. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to set up your deck over this way, and you're essentially going to make a road. So you're going to take the top 4 cards of the deck, and you're going to lay them out in a road. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. They could be in any order. It doesn't matter. And then you've got a choice. You can either sneak or you can push through. If you sneak, you would take all 4 cards from the road, and if you had any threat cards in your discard pile, you would take the bottommost threat card. You would shuffle that threat card with the 4 cards on the road. You'd shuffle them up, and you would return them to the bottom of the deck. If the game ever uses the word return, it simply means that you place the cards face down on the bottom of the deck. That's if you sneak. It's also important to note, you can never sneak 2 turns in a row, much like in Scoundrel. So if you didn't sneak on your previous turn, you can sneak this turn. If you chose to sneak on your previous turn, you cannot sneak this turn. So again, you can't sneak twice in a row, so you've got to use it sparingly. Or if you don't sneak, your other option is to push through, which means that you have to resolve 3 of the 4 cards on the board, just like in Scoundrel. So you can resolve them in any order, and the last one is considered the last card, and it will get flipped over and put under the bottom of the deck. It doesn't have to be Painkillers, it's just a card I'm using in, for this instance. Whichever card is left over at the end after you resolve 3 cards, it gets returned to the bottom of the deck face down. So in this instance, I think I'm going to grab the crowbar weapon. Now, you can put your weapon in your arsenal, and you can only hold one weapon in your arsenal unless the weapon has a special ability that tells you that you can hold it in addition to any other weapons that you have. And you've got an inventory that starts with 2 slots. So you can hold 2 items, either healing or gear items, in your inventory slots to start. There are some items like the backpack that will give you extra gear slots. So those are always good to pick up. But when you start with 1 arsenal for 1 weapon and 2 slots for your gear. So next up, I think I'm going to grab this basic medical kit here. I'm going to place that into my inventory, and then I'm also going to grab the painkillers and place that into my inventory. And now that we have the zombie as the last card, it's going to get returned to the deck. So flipped face down and then placed on the bottom of the deck like so. And then we continue on. We flip over the next 4 cards. We've got a pistol, a repair kit, we've got Doug out there, and we've got the battered truck. It's important to note that if you ever flip a situation card and there are multiple situation cards on the board, you can only have 1 out at a time. So you need to choose 1 to keep, and then you need to return the others to the bottom of the deck, and then continue flipping cards from the top of the deck until you have 4 out on the road and only 1 situation card in play. It's also important to note too that situation cards have to be resolved first if they're on the board, or whichever, you can only have 1 out at a time, so you have to resolve it first, unless it's an objective card like the battered truck, which is the only objective situation card in the deck. You actually have to leave it as the final card, as the 4th and final card, and after you resolve the other 3, you check the objective to see if you meet the requirements in order to win the game. In this case, you would need all 3 of the items with the triangle and exclamation point symbol in order to win: the keys, the battery, and the gas can. We don't have any of those in this instance, but again, we've got to resolve these 3 first since that's an objective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the pistol. It's going to replace my crowbar, so we'll discard the crowbar in the discard pile and pick up the pistol. It's got 7 power anyways, which is better than the crowbar, which is good. So we got a weapon upgrade. Then we've got some gear here. We've got the repair kit. Now it's important to note too, if you ever have to discard one of those 3 items that's required to win the game, the keys, the fuel tank, or the battery, and you have no way to get it back immediately, you lose the game. The only way that I'm fairly certain, the only way that I've seen that you can actually get it back is using the repair kit that says search for a weapon or gear card in the discard pile and equip it immediately. So if you were to lose one of those 3 items, you'd be able to, and you had the repair kit, you'd be able to use this to get it back immediately and prevent losing the game. Otherwise, if you lose all of your health, or if you lose any one of those 3 items that's got the triangle with the exclamation point symbol, you lose the game. So we're going to go ahead and pick this up. We're going to have to actually get rid of one of our items here. So we're going to get rid of the painkiller. Oh, actually, the painkillers have an ongoing effect that says it takes no inventory slot. Cool. So this is like an extra free item. So we're going to place our repair kit here. And then we're going to get Doug as a companion. And we're going to set him up over this way. I'm actually going to remove these other 2 characters off to the side. We're going to set him up over this way and put his health aimed at the 4 on our health tracker. And he has an ongoing effect that says expands inventory capacity by 1 slot for storing gear. So now we can hold up to 3 items in our inventory. And then again, the painkillers are not taking up any slot at all. So Doug is really, really good. If you have Doug and the backpack, you can hold 4 items in your inventory, which is insane. And then if you add the painkillers, then technically you've got 5 items in your inventory. So now that we've gone through our 3 cards, and this card is the last one since it's an objective situation, win the game if there are 3 of the triangle with the exclamation point gear cards in your inventory and no threats in the road. So there aren't any threats in the road, but we don't have those cards in our inventory. So this is going to get returned to the bottom of the deck, and we've got quite a ways to go to get back to it, and that is our win condition right there. That is our one and only win condition in this mode. So we're going to keep going. We're going to flip the top 4 cards. Okay, we got a situation card there. We got another situation. So there are 2 situation cards in the road. We've got to choose 1 to keep and 1 to get rid of. So the tripwire alarm says you reshuffle the deck. Return 1 random threat from the discard. That would actually be great to use right now because there are no threats in the discard, and it would shuffle the card that we just put on the bottom, this objective. It would shuffle it back into the deck, and then maybe we're not going to have to go all the way through the deck again, right? Or we've got the bridge collapse. It says lock away all the cards currently in the discard pile with this card on top forming a bridge collapse pile. So if we chose this, it would essentially go on top of all of the cards in the discard pile. It would get set off to the side, and then it would form its own separate discard pile where all those cards are locked out of the game, and then we would continue discarding into the discard pile. I don't think I really want to do that. I think I would rather keep the tripwire alarm. So we're going to return this one to the bottom of the deck. We're going to draw another off the top. If it was a situation, we'd have to decide again which one to keep and which one to get rid of. In this case, it's not. So if you got a situation card and it's not an objective, you have to resolve it first. So tripwire alarm, reshuffle the deck and return one random threat from the discard. So there aren't any. We're going to shuffle up the deck, which you have to do first. And then if there were any threats in the discard pile, we'd have to return a random one from the discard by putting it face down on the bottom of the deck after shuffling. But all we have is our crowbar over there in the trash. So we're going to put this here, and then this gets discarded to the discard pile. Now we've got the rest of our guys out on the board. I definitely want this car battery. We don't have a lot of room over here, though. Oh, we do, because with Doug, we can hold an extra item. We do have room, guys. So I'm going to pick up the car battery. So we're one step closer, guys. We just need the other two items with this symbol, and then we've got to find that objective card. And then we can either fight the zombie or the wraith. Now, this is kind of interesting. So whenever you fight an enemy, you basically just compare the power of your weapon to the power of the enemy, and you're trying to equal or exceed it. If the enemy's power exceeds your power on your weapon, then you just subtract your weapon's power from the enemy's power, the threat's power, and you take the difference in damage. So like, if this guy was an 8 and we fought him with the pistol, he would deal 1 damage to us because we've only got 7, and he would have 8 and the difference is 1. And yeah, so that's residual damage. But residual damage can also go in the other direction from your weapon. So if we were to fight the wraith, since he's got 6 power and we've got 7 on the pistol, there would be 1 residual damage left over that we could actually apply to another threat on the board. But it starts a new encounter, and you're only allowed to have 3 encounters out of the 4 cards in the road. So in this case, we couldn't actually do that because it would start a 4th encounter with the zombie, and we can't do that. Plus, we wouldn't want to do that anyway, because at 1 damage to the 7 of the zombie, he would have 6 left over, and we would take 6 damage. So we can't do that in this instance, but, you know, let's just say that there was like another card on the road and we decided to do that. Yeah, that would be a bad play, but you can do that. Sometimes you'll get weapons that have really high power, and sometimes you'll get threats on the board that have really low power, and you can actually use the single weapon as like collateral damage, basically, to overflow your damage from one enemy onto another one. Just remember, that second enemy, that second threat that you add the damage to, counts as a separate encounter. So in this case, though, let's see what these are actually going to do. If we kill the wraith, it says if returned, while there are any shade cards in the discard, return all shade cards and eliminate this card instead. We don't have any shades in the discard, so I'm not too worried about returning that. If we kill the zombie, it says after confronted, it goes to the bottom of the discard rather than the top. So let's go ahead and take down the zombie with the pistol. So he's going to go on the bottom of the discard. And this is relevant too, because whenever you choose to sneak, again, not only do you take all 4 of the cards that are in the road, you also take the bottommost threat and shuffle them up and then return them. So in this case, it puts a fairly high power level enemy, the 7 zombie, potentially back into the deck. But we're going to get rid of him. And then we've got our last card left over. So it gets flipped and put on the bottom of the deck. And we're going to keep going through the whole playthrough, guys, but you now know how to play Escape from Route 52. That's it. It's very simple, very fun, neat little game. We're going to keep going. Again, if you like Scoundrel, you'll probably like this. It's just a thematic version of Scoundrel. And would you look at that, guys? Would you just look at it? We shuffled up the deck and we got the battered truck back out on the road. We don't need it yet, unfortunately, but there it is. So this one might be a little tough to deal with. This is an objective, so we have to leave it for last, which means we have to deal with the other 3 cards here. I'm going to attack the zombie with the pistol to take him down. Again, after being confronted, he goes to the bottom of the discard. So we got a couple zombies down there hanging out. Got the Thriller music video going on down there. And then we're going to pick up the explosives. That's going to replace this weapon. I don't really want to lose the pistol, but we have to. Sometimes, just like in Scoundrel, you'll get forced to pick up weapons that you might not really want that are going to replace weapons that you already have. With the explosives, they do more damage. They have 9, but it says distribute all residual damage among as many other threats as you choose. You take all undistributed residual damage. So you got to distribute all residual damage. In this case, I don't think that there's going to be any, because it says that you basically have to. You have to distribute all the residual damage among as many other threats as you choose, and then you take all undistributed residual damage. If I'm understanding that correctly. So it is powerful, but it could actually deal some damage back to you. So I'm going to use it on the Fiend to take down the Fiend, and then it's going to get discarded over this way. And, you know, I almost feel like you should have to discard this when you use it. And I will fully admit, guys, if you guys have played the game before and you know, please let me know down in the comments. I was thinking about this earlier before I record the video, and I scoured the rule book, and I couldn't find any mention of this. It does not say that you discard your weapons when you use them. So it just seems a little weird that you would use explosives and that you would get to keep using them over and over again. It doesn't say to discard it though. So I do apologize. I know this is a how to play video. I'm doing my best with the rule book that came with the game. So I'm fairly certain you don't discard it. But if you do, and somebody knows, please do let us know down in the comments. But I don't think you do. Again, it just doesn't really make sense to me with the explosives. But we're going to put this on the bottom of the deck, and we're going to keep on going. So let's go ahead and flip more cards and see what we've got here, guys. So, okay, this is rough, actually. This is actually kind of rough. So we got the Creepy Talisman here. It's rough because we got these two big enemies out, especially the werewolf. Creepy Talisman says, when equipped, reshuffle the deck and you return one threat from the road. Oh, ignore their effects. Okay. Okay. I kind of want to do that. I think I'm going to use... I don't want to use this because we're going to have to distribute the residual damage to the zombie, and then we're going to take like 6 damage. No. Oh, it says take all undistributed residual damage. Oh, I understand. Yeah, I'm fairly certain you get to keep this. Otherwise, it would say discard. So it's like if we hit the zombie with it, there'd be 2 damage left over. If I didn't distribute that, I would take that 2 damage. Is this dumb? I think I might get rid of it, guys. Okay, I'm gonna actually hit the werewolf with it. So we've got 9 power to the 10 power of the werewolf. So we're gonna take 1 damage. Yeah, we're gonna take 1 damage. We're still gonna eliminate the threat. Just like in Scoundrel, you still eliminate the threat, but you take the damage as difference from your power level to theirs. There's no residual damage left over from the explosives. Then I'm actually gonna pick up the fire axe. I'm gonna drop the explosives, and then I'm going to pick up the Creepy Talisman. And it says that when it's equipped, ooh, we're gonna have to get rid of something though in order to do that. I don't know if I want to. I kind of want to keep everything that we have. Maybe we just fight the zombie. Yeah, we'll save this for later. I'm going to fight the zombie. So we've got 5 to his 7. So we're going to take 2 damage and go from 9 down to 7. And then the zombie is going to go on the bottom of the deck, of the discard pile. And then this will get returned. So we flip it face down and put it on the bottom. So we've got a little bit of a weaker weapon here. But it's okay. We can repair with this basic medical kit. And we might find something better up ahead. Like the freaking chainsaw, dude. Are you kidding me? Let's go. Okay, I'm picking up the chainsaw, first of all. The chainsaw says, ongoing, you can't sneak. So the chainsaw motor is revved up. It's too loud. We can't sneak by. I think next I'm going to go ahead and fight the Wraith here. So we've got 10 to his 6. If returned, while there are any shade cards in the discard, return all shade cards and eliminate this card instead. We're not doing that, though. We're taking him out. And then I think I want to take down the Murder of Crows as well. They're only threat level 2. It says if you sneak this round, shuffle all the returning cards into the deck instead of returning them to the bottom. So we're not doing that, though. We're not sneaking. We can't now that we have the chainsaw. So we're going to go ahead and take down the Murder of Crows, like so. And then we have to return the first aid kit to the bottom of the deck. Nice. Okay, we're going to make a new road. We just keep on going. And let's see what we've got here. I don't want to have to pick up the hunting knife, although I think you could pick this one up for free if I remember. Yeah, it says it can be equipped in the arsenal simultaneously with at most one other weapon. So let's go ahead and pick this up. So we've got both the chainsaw and the hunting knife now. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. There are certain weapons like this one. I think it might only be the hunting knife actually, that lets you equip it in addition to another weapon that you have. And then you just have to choose which one you want to use. Which honestly, I don't really know why, unless you would have to discard them when you use them. But again, guys, I do apologize for that little rule discrepancy there. I'm not too sure about that. Again, if somebody knows, please do let me know down in the comments below. I couldn't find anything about it, unfortunately, and I wanted to share the game with you guys. So we could pick up this energy drink. We could pick up the binoculars. We could also just take down the shade. It can't be targeted with residual damage. Okay, so we'll just straight up attack it with the chainsaw and take them down. Cool. And then binoculars. Look at the top 4 cards of the deck. Return them back to the top or to the bottom of the deck in any order. That is really good. I guess we'll just go ahead and use the basic medical kit, and we can actually go up to 12. So we're healing 7 from 7. So that would be 14, but we max out at 12. That frees up a slot in our inventory, and I'm going to pick up the binoculars, and then I'm going to use them to look at the top 4 cards of the deck, and I can return them to the top or the bottom of the deck in any order. So let's see what we've got here. We're looking for another one of these, and we didn't get it. So I'm actually going to put all of these on the bottom, and we're going to discard the binoculars after we use it. There we go. And then the energy drink is the last card, so it'll go back to the bottom. Okay, we got a situation card here. We've got more healing and a couple of threats. So it's a situation that doesn't have an objective, so we have to resolve this card first. So we've got dense fog. You can resolve only one other card from this road. After that, return the remaining cards, ignoring their effects, and start a new round. Ooh, so we can only get one? I'm going to grab the first aid kit, and then we're going to put these on the bottom of the deck. This gets discarded. We'll return those, and we'll continue to another road. And oh man, there's a bunch of threats. Ooh, there's a lot of threats. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, and see, this is what I'm saying. It kind of makes the game a little bit trivial once you pick up the chainsaw if you never have to discard any of your weapons. Sometimes you'll get in a situation to where you'll have to pick up a new weapon and it replaces the one that you already have. But yeah, in this instance, it's just kind of like we're going to mow everything down. So we're going to attack the fiend. He's dead. We're going to attack the shade. He's dead. And we're going to attack the wraith, and he's dead. And then we're going to put this on the bottom of the deck, like so. Cool. We'll return that to the bottom, and we will continue onward. Here we go. It is a little bit different than how it works in Scoundrel, because in Scoundrel, your weapon gets progressively weaker as you kill things. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it does work differently in that game. Same thing. We're just going to attack the monstrous crawler with the chainsaw. The downside of the chainsaw, though, is that you can never sneak, but you don't really need to, because it does so much damage. So I don't really know how I feel about that. You attack the mad dog, we'll take him down. And then we got a utility belt and the Molotov. The utility belt says ongoing. It doesn't take up an inventory slot, and it expands either your inventory capacity or your arsenal capacity by 1 slot. I'm going to add this to my inventory. So now, in addition to Doug, we can hold another item, guys. We can hold another item. So we can have 4 items in our inventory currently. And also we got the painkillers, which takes no inventory slot. So we're rocking and rolling. Molotov is going to go on the bottom. We return it, and then we flip the next 4 cards. We've got the keys. We definitely want those. And we got a situation that we have to resolve first. Fire. Take 1 damage. Okay, we take 1 damage. And then you take 1 additional damage for each card from this road that you choose to equip. Okay, well, I know that I'm going to pick up the keys and equip them. And we're going to take 1 damage. Like so. Now we just need to find the fuel tank. We got the car battery and the keys. And then we've got this dude, the Abomination. When left for last, you shuffle this card and the 2 bottommost threats from the discard pile into the deck. So I'm actually going to attack the Murder of Crows here, and this is going to be left for last. So we're going to shuffle that card along with the 2 bottommost threats from the discard pile into the deck, and they're probably zombies, right? Yep, those are those zombies from earlier. So they're going to get shuffled into the deck. And we could potentially run into them again. Not great. Not great. So it's kind of cool that the Abomination like pulls threats back into the deck with him, that's a cool mechanic. I really do like that. That's a really neat mechanic. There we go. Okay, cool. Now we're going to get 4 more cards. And can we get... Nope, we didn't get it. I was hoping that we would get the gas tank there. I guess we're going to pick up the backpack. Ongoing. It doesn't take up an inventory slot and expands inventory capacity by 1 slot. Guys, we are freaking balling over here, dude. So we can have 5 items in our inventory. Because remember, you start with 2 item slots. Doug expands your inventory slot. And then the backpack and the utility belt also do the same. Also, I forgot about Doug over here. Anytime you take damage from a threat, at least 1 of that damage has to go to Doug. Did we take damage earlier? I feel like we did. I feel like we did. What did we attack? Did we attack something and take damage? I think I attacked a zombie with a, what was it? An axe, I believe, that had 5 power. And yeah, and then I took 2 damage. I was actually only supposed to take 1 damage. So I'm actually going to gain a health. And then Doug would have taken another damage. So your companion has to take at least 1 damage. Actually, you know, I'll just go back to 10. I'll just stay at 10. But Doug had to take a damage. Your companion, if you take damage from threats, he has to take at least 1 damage. But you could choose to put even more damage on him if you wanted to, as like a damage sponge so that you don't get hit. But remember, if he loses all of his health, he's dead and you have to discard him. So anyway, like I was saying, we're getting an extra inventory capacity slot from Doug. We're also getting one from the backpack and the utility belt, so we can have 5 items in our inventory. And again, for the billionth time, the painkillers don't take up a slot. So we've got 4 items. We can actually hold another item right now. I don't want to pick up the hunting knife because it's going to replace my chainsaw. You know what I could do? We could discard this hunting knife and pick this one up because it can be equipped in the arsenal simultaneously at most with one other weapon. So that kind of gives us like a freebie right there. And then we'll just go ahead and take down the Wraith with the chainsaw. And then the monstrous crawler will get returned to the bottom of the deck, and we'll go down a new road. And, okay, we've got, ooh, see, this is a situation where I'm going to lose my chainsaw, which kind of sucks. So we may as well go ahead and use it while we can. We're going to attack the Revenant. He's got 10 power. We've got 10 power. We're going to take him down and not take any damage. And it says, after confronted, return this card. So instead of getting discarded, he actually gets returned to the bottom. So you can never get rid of that guy. Then we're going to take down the zombie. After confronted, it goes to the bottom of the discard. And then we've got to pick up a weapon. We've got the Molotov that says you can distribute the damage among as many threats as you choose. Or we've got the crowbar. I guess we'll take the Molotov. It does more damage. So we'll go ahead and pick up the Molotov, and then the crowbar is going to go on the bottom of the deck. It gets returned. Okay, we're going to keep going. Oh, no. The abomination is out there. We got the bridge collapse situation. We have to do this first. It says lock away all the cards currently in the discard pile with this card on top, forming a bridge collapse pile. So the bridge collapses. All these cards are now gone. We don't have to worry about any of these cards anymore. I'm going to turn them sideways and put them up that way. And we're about to take some damage here, guys. I'm going to use the Molotov to attack the zombie. So we're going to take 1 damage. At least one of that has to go to Doug over here, so he takes the damage. Then I'm going to attack the Scarecrow. We're going to take 2 damage, so 1 to us and 1 to Doug. No, he's at 1 HP. We take down the Scarecrow, but then the Abomination is left, and it says, when left for last, you shuffle this card and the 2 bottommost threats from the discard into the deck. So all of these are going to get shuffled in. I will say, too, as a side note, I've played the game a few times off camera before recording it, and I won every time. So this is cool. I'm actually glad to see that the game is kind of playing out this way, and the difficulty has ramped up a little bit. Because while I had a very small sample size, it did seem a little easy. I won every time that I played. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw the cards off the top. And I haven't tried that other mode yet, where Doug is a werewolf. I still need to try that one. Okay, so dang, we got the battered truck out here, guys, but we don't have the fuel tank, which is so unfortunate. We're going to attack the Mad Dog with the Molotov. We're going to attack the Monstrous Crawler with the Molotov. And then we're also going to, and see, that's what I'm saying too. It doesn't make sense to me that you'd be able to use 1 Molotov to attack multiple things. But it also wouldn't make sense that if you threw it and then you didn't have a weapon, that you would take full damage from everything else that's left. You would die like way too easily. Maybe that is how it's supposed to go. Maybe that's why I've been winning so much. I don't know. Like I said, if someone knows, let me know down in the comments. I wish it clarified more in the rulebook, but it just doesn't. It does not say that you discard your weapons whenever you use them to attack. So, okay. And then with some of them, it wouldn't make sense. Like, why would you discard your knife or, you know, your chainsaw or whatever, your pistol? I guess if you ran out of ammo, but anyways. Now we got the Scarecrow left. We're going to attack him. He's got power 8, so we're going to take 2 damage, guys. So that's 1 to us, 1 to Doug. Doug dies, guys. Doug is dead. So that means that we lose a slot, but we had 5. So now we're back down to 4. We don't have to discard anything, thankfully. And then the Scarecrow goes away. We check to see if we win the game, if we have the 3 items that we need, but we don't. So this goes to the bottom of the deck. It gets returned. And we're going to go again. So we're going to go ahead and flip. Wow, a lot of healing. It's also important to note, too, you can only heal once per turn. It hasn't come up yet, but yeah, you can only use 1 healing item per turn, and I think I'm actually going to do it now. I'm going to heal for 6 with this first aid, and we're going to go up to, Actually, I'm going to hang on to it. Now, I'm not going to do it just yet. What was I at? 8? Yeah, I'm going to attack the zombie. So we're going to take 1 damage. He goes to the bottom of the discard pile when confronted. Now I'm going to use this, I think. Yeah, I'm going to use this. We're going to heal 6. So we're going to go back up to 12. And then I'm going to pick up... I'll pick up the energy bar. And then I'm going to have to discard something. So I'll drop the energy bar and pick up the medical kit here. And then we're going to put this card, first aid kit, return it to the bottom of the deck. We've got to be getting close to this fuel canister, guys. Where is this thing? Does it not exist? Where is it? Am I losing my mind? Where is this damn thing? Is it not in there? Hold on, guys. Is it not in here? No, it's there. It is there. It's way at the bottom. We're cheating. Because I remember putting this guy in the deck. I'm like, how did we pull him before the fuel can? I don't remember shuffling the deck. But I do have a goldfish memory, so maybe I did. Okay, we've got 6 with the Molotov. That is not great, guys. That is not great. We could pick up the creepy talisman, but then we'd have to drop something. Maybe we could use the repair kit. Search for a weapon or gear in the discard pile and equip it immediately. That would have been good to do when we still had weapons in the discard pile. Dang it, dude. We could have got back the freaking chainsaw. I wasn't paying attention. That's okay. I guess we're going to fight the Scarecrow, and we're going to take 2 damage. So we're going to go down to 10. And then we're going to fight the Revenant and take 4 damage and go down to 6. And then after confronted, you return him. So he goes to the bottom face down. And then I guess we're going to use this complete medical kit to heal 8. And we're going to go all the way back up to full health. And then we'll pick up the energy drink, which says it can be used beyond the normal limit of healing usage per round. So normally you can only heal once per round. But with the energy drink, you can actually use it and heal for a second time. And then we'll put the creepy talisman onto the bottom. We'll return that. And we'll go down another road. And we're getting close to the end here, guys. We are getting very, very close. Okay, awesome. We're going to drop the Molotov. We're going to pick up the crowbar. We're going to drop the crowbar and pick up the shotgun. And we're going to use it to shoot the monstrous crawler. It's got 5 power. We've got 8 on the shotgun. And then the abomination is left once again. It's like you don't want to attack him really because he deals so much damage back to you. But if you leave him for last, he shuffles himself and the bottom 2 most threats of the discard pile back into the deck, right? Or do you return them? You return them, right? Yeah. Oh, no, shuffle this card in the 2 bottommost. Oh, you shuffle them. That's why I've been shuffling, guys. I remember now. I totally remember that now. Okay, we're going to shuffle them up. We'll go down a new road. There's the fuel can. Oh, man, I think we're going to do it right here, guys. I think we're going to do it. Okay, so we're actually going to drop the energy drink. I'm going to pick up the creepy talisman. It says when equipped, reshuffle the deck. And then, oops, and then return 1 threat from the road. Ignore their effects. Okay, there are no threats in the road, so we don't have to worry about that. Oh, we can discard this in order to do that, in order to return a threat from the road and ignore their effects. I'm just going to drop this item, and then we're going to pick up the first aid kit. I'm going to drop the first aid kit, and I'm going to pick up the fuel can. So now we've got all 3 of the items with the exclamation point triangle, the car battery, the keys, and the fuel can. And this situation is an objective. Of course, you have to leave that for last if it's an objective. And it says, the battered truck, you win the game if there are 3 gear cards in your inventory and no threats in the road. And it's these 3 gear cards right here with those symbols. We've got them. There's no threats in the road. So we managed to escape and win the game. There it is, guys. There it is. Let's freaking go, dudes. There was a playthrough of Escape from Route 52. It is a very cool game. I'm going to give my thoughts on the game. Like I said, it does remind me so much of Scoundrel. And as I've stated a couple times, I'm a little confused about the weapons because it does seem like if you don't have to discard them, it's too easy. But then it seems like if you do have to discard them, it's too hard. But yeah, if this is correct, if that is the correct way that you play by keeping the weapon, which I assume you do because that's basically what it says in the rule book, is that you just use your weapons to attack. It doesn't say that you discard them, and I feel like it would state that. But again, I could be wrong. I just feel like that would be too hard if you had to discard them. But the way it is now, the game feels very, very easy. So while I do enjoy the game, while it is a fun little game, it's not something that I would personally come back to too often just because it does seem too easy. It's got a great concept. It's really, really well designed. It looks super professional. All the artwork and everything is really beautiful. I really like it. Very stylized and sort of like cartoony looking. Really cool. It is fun. There's a lot of different items. You can actually use them and you have to think about using them. And yeah, they're really neat. It's really, really neat. I like the setting. I like the creepy little sort of setting and vibe of the game, sort of like zombie apocalypse, post-apocalyptic type vibe almost, that you're trying to like find a car and gather the parts to start it and get out of there. It's neat that it comes with a few different characters and they each have their own little, abilities and health values and stuff. But again, unless I'm messing up how the weapons work, it seems really easy. So yeah, I don't know, but I still do like the game. I do like the game. I think it's a cool little game, and I want to try the other mode. I do want to try the other mode, so maybe we'll come back with another playthrough of the game, and we'll try that other mode where Doug, your companion Doug, is a werewolf. We'll see how that one fares. So there it is, guys. I hope you did enjoy this one, man. If you did, hit the thumbs up like button, hit the red subscribe button, and click the bell so you can stay notified every time I upload brand new videos. And I'll have more playthroughs of other spooky games coming for the month of October, including that other version of Escape from Route 52 and also Hunted Transylvania and other games too. So be on the lookout for those. And until next time, have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.